Hello, my wonderful spirit guides. Today I am not doing a reaction. I have got some lined up. I've got Florence and the Machine lined up, and I got a Patreon request lined up for an artist called Kishi Bashi. Anyway, other than that, I did actually just want to kind of have a bit more of a vulnerable video. I've just kind of, I don't know how I'm going to start this or end this or go do the middle part of it even. But just had a bit of a stressful situation. It's got me just like thinking, I suppose. I'm going to start with ADHD. That's what I'm going to start with. And I'm just going to get right into it. Basically, I have undiagnosed ADHD, okay? However, I strongly and firmly believe that I actually have it, and not just like a joke of, yeah, I probably got ADHD. No, it's like, no, I really, truly feel like I have it, and it's at a point now where it's frustrating, okay? Because I'm fed up. Momo, I'm just recording a bit of a video. It's not a reaction, it's just talking. Love you. You okay?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically I'm fed up of saying I have possible ADHD. I'm at the point now where I just want to say I have ADHD and do everything necessary. Get as much help as I can, but just through YouTube, online, Reddit even, on how to navigate that and how to feel included in that, because every time I say I have possible ADHD, it almost acts as a block for me to actually look into what I can do to help that without taking medication for it. Because yeah, I don't necessarily want to take medication for it, because I think I could handle it, and I can handle it, because I'm 27, I've done it my whole life, but it would just be nice to feel validated knowing that I have it, or at least being able to stand firm in saying that I have it, without feeling like I'm treading on toes of people who have actually been diagnosed. Because the rating process, unless you're rich, in England could be 2 to 3 years, and then even then you might not even get medication for it or whatever. So I'm not worried about that. I just want to have that validation, basically, of something I believe very strongly that I have, and I want to do everything necessary to give myself more care and love for the things that I've struggled with. So, for example, growing up, everyone used to always say to me that I was weird or strange or hyper. And I know that ADHD shows very different in girls than it does to boys. But yeah, all my life I've just been told, like, are you on drugs, or you're so weird, or you're so crazy, because of how I guess hyper I can be, and how fast I can talk, and how bizarre and out the box and impulsive I've always been, and excitable for sure. And definitely a lot of that comes with being creative too. But it also linked into things where in school I just felt like I was really stupid, but because I couldn't do certain things like ICT and maths and science, all things that really you have to use your brain for a lot, I wasn't very good at. But then in drama I'd got an A star in my GCSEs. And in art, I wasn't necessarily good at art, but I was really good at analysing art. How funny is this? I passed because I was good at analysing art. I was very good at analysing it and wondering what the artist was thinking or referencing or what it meant. A bit like I do with music, right? I analyse it and get deep into it. That's something I'm good at. I can hyper-focus on those things. But when it came to maths and stuff, I was really bad, and I had to take my GCSE twice and still got a D. Both times. It's a wonder how I finished university and how I even got into university with a D. I think I kind of cheated the system a little bit with my functional maths grade, because I got a C in that. But I was lucky to be able to get what I did without having to retake any maths stuff. Yeah, just kind of working around the system. But I've put way too much foundation. I don't normally do this much. But in maths basically, and in the lessons that I struggled with, it wasn't it was like if I found one bit to be slightly confusing, my brain would just detach, just lose focus and start daydreaming. And of course, everyone does this to some certain degree, but I did it constantly to the point where even when I was trying to focus, like putting my all into focusing, I would find myself to be daydreaming again. And it didn't matter how much I tried, it just kept happening. And at first, I thought maybe I have dyslexia, where because like numbers and stuff would blur on the page and rearrange. But I don't think it's dyslexia now. I think it was just ADHD in the sense of like my focus wasn't very strong. I'd be reading an equation and I do the same when I'm reading like things with lyrics now. I jumble over my words. You don't even understand the amount of cuts I have to do sometimes. And even just talking like this, I have to cut a lot because my brain travels faster than my words and it all feels really like jumbled and horrible and a little bit tiring and frustrating sometimes. I even had my ICT tell me, he said, ICT teacher, he told me, I did like a live performance at the end of school, end of like my year 11. And he said to me, you know what, I used to think you were stupid. Because I used to think you were stupid, but wow, you're really talented. And that was such a backhanded compliment because it was like, it's like a cruel thing to say just because I'm not good at ICT doesn't mean I'm stupid. That stuck with me a little bit because, yeah, I'm really good at doing things that involve creativity, but the other side I'm not so good at, unless it's very specific, like editing I'm good at, or production I am good at, but that involves somewhat creativity and focus that keeps me hyper focused. But then there's the other problem. When I'm doing stuff like producing or editing, the whole world around me kind of disappears and I can't focus on anything else. And that can cause irritability or stress because it zaps so much out of me, drains me because the hyperfocus makes me not eat, it makes me not go to the toilet, it makes me, not be able to focus on anything. I have to choose specific times when I'm alone to do those things. And it's horrible, it's not a nice feeling. But that's just part of it. The other part of it is I'm not exactly the tidiest person. Like I am in some ways, like I'm hygienic and stuff like that. It's nothing to do with that. It's just like I'm not very good at organising and keeping things tidy. So I'm the sort of person that'll be like, oh, I'll do that later and then completely forget about it and never do it later. That's just what I'm like. So, when you get a letter through the door, I'll look at the letter and go, oh, I'll pick that up in a bit. And then weeks go by and I've got like 20, 30 letters on the floor. And I've gone, oh yeah, I'll do that. And then I just don't because it gets too chaotic. And I'm like, oh gosh, I can't do it. And then even the other day, like I've got an electric toothbrush and my boyfriend was like, oh, you need to put some more batteries in it because it's run out. And he said that we have some batteries. So he goes, we've got batteries here so you can, get some. And in my head, I'm like, that's just too much for me. Like that's a thing in ADHD. It's meant to do like failing to execute certain like plans. I can't remember the actual word, like paralysis, executive paralysis or something. And I've got that majorly. So, he talked about these batteries, but that feels like there's too many steps. And I'm like, even though it's just, I know where they should be and I know how to do it. It's just my brain isn't allowing me to execute the plan or, to actually do it. And that's kind of really annoying. And that's just like a little example. I don't even know where I'm going with this. I feel a little bit all over the shop. I'm just a little bit frustrated. Obviously, these aren't the only symptoms. My other things are being scared to go into supermarkets. And like, of course, I've said I've got agoraphobia. But also these sort of things are ADHD things. Like I look at things like the things on the shelves in the supermarket, and they all blur together in this big mush of a colour and words and sounds and lights, all just kind of like make me feel anxious. Or the different aisles, it feels unnatural and weird, like I'm trapped in a cage. Or you know what I feel like? I feel like cattle, like walking around the fences, going in and out those fences. That's what I feel like, and I feel really, I get so hot and anxious, and I just don't know how to control it. And then that's when my agoraphobic anxiety comes in, where I feel like something bad's going to happen, like I'm going to have a panic attack, and people are going to think I'm on drugs, and so on. And then I can't do public transport for the exact same reason. It's terrifying to me. There's lots of other things, but I can't think of them all off the top of the head. But my main reason I wanted to talk about this is because some of you are a lot smarter than me when it comes to this stuff, and internet stuff too. But I was just wondering, even if you don't have a legit diagnosis, not because they've said no, but because you haven't even gone to get the diagnosis yet, I am literally going to do it. Like, I've literally already been in the process of trying to get a, diagnosis sort of thing. But am I allowed to say I have it even without the proper diagnosis? Like, is that allowed? I mean, you may not know. I'm not saying you're all doctors, but it's good to get a second opinion, third opinion, whatever. Because I'm fed up of saying I might have it when I feel like I really have it. Like, I really believe it. I literally believe it. And I don't want it just to be something like crazy or silly, right? Like, I used to think that I had a gluten intolerance, and I really believed that too, but not as much as I believe this. The gluten intolerance, it did make sense. I did actually stop eating gluten for 1 year to see if it would help with my stomach issues and so on. And it didn't really help much. Going on a diet is actually what helped me. But because I stopped binge eating, and that helped a lot, as you can imagine. But with this ADHD thing, I'm just so sure I have it, and it just makes sense. I'm 27, and it just makes sense of my whole life. And it's like, wow, how am I this age and only now kind of realising it? Or I guess I didn't know a lot about ADHD before now. And things like this pop up more, don't they? In this time and age and so on, things are coming out more. I think there's more awareness on things. Every legitimate online test I've taken through like the NHS or whatever has said that I'm highly likely that I have ADHD. And it's like, I wish I could just have a test and just be done, not take years and years and so on. Okay, so my main question is, am I allowed to say I have it? If not, that's okay, but I'm gonna forever be thinking I have it anyway, and that's not gonna go. Like, even if I get a diagnosis or not, I just feel like I have it. I do, and I can't change that about myself, and I don't want to change that about myself, because it's the one thing that makes sense for everything about me. And of course, I've got other things like BPD, borderline personality disorder, right? But I was diagnosed with that ages ago, and I've had intensive therapy, so a lot of that is kind of gone now. However, it makes me start to think how much of my borderline personality disorder is actually just symptoms of ADHD. And that makes me feel a bit sad. You know, how much of my ADHD symptoms are because of my complex post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, I definitely have that. I know for a fact I have complex PTSD, just because of the sheer amount I've gone through growing up. But how much is everything tied into everything? Because I was sat there in therapy not long ago talking about tidying being a really big problem for me, being like a really big issue that I find hard to navigate. Again, with the not being able to execute the plan that I want to do, and feeling too tired or unmotivated, a bit like a depression, right? And I was trying to figure out what trauma that could stem from. And I don't really want to be spending hours and hours in therapy trying to figure out why I have issues with tidying and why I can't figure them out or solve them when I've been able to get over so many big things like intimacy and love and, you know, things like big scary dreams and like sleep paralysis and psychosis, that I can't somehow get up and just tidy my room each day, you know? And now that makes me go, what if it's all just an ADHD thing? And I've been putting too much pressure on it and being too hard on myself, you know? And it is hard. And that's the other ADHD symptom I have, is trying to be perfect. That is a huge one for me, is trying to be perfect, especially when I'm not. Like, so I forget birthdays. I forget to get presents. I'm always late. I don't do thoughtful gifts. I do on Christmas, but I think that's become a habit. I don't know how that's happened, but things can be made habits, which is good. That's a good sign. It means I'm not completely like can't do anything. But you know, it was my friend's birthday, one of my friend's birthdays, and I, up until the day I knew it was her birthday coming, and then as it got on the day, I didn't even say happy birthday because it didn't enter my brain the whole day. And I've done this more than once with different people. And then with that friend, it was like 2 days later that I said happy birthday. Luckily, they're like, oh, yeah, I didn't really think about it. But that could be really hurtful in some friendships. They might think I don't care, and it's not true at all. Like, that's what hurts, is like, I wish I could be like better. I don't want to get upset. I just wish I could be better though, and like a better mum, better friend. Just I feel, and I've resorted to calling myself lazy all the time recently, when I'm not. I just have sort of like prejudgments on what I should be doing. Like, I'm the sort of person that goes, you know, when we were cavemen, we were walking and walking for days, hunting, and I'm very aware of that. So I say to myself, that means I should be walking every day, doing exercise every day, going out, doing things. Like, I've got so much pressures on myself, and then all that pressure makes me actually do nothing in the end because it's too much. And if I get invited to do something last minute, it's too scary. I get so much anxiety. And that's the thing, like, my anxiety is very real and very strong, and it doesn't come out in the form of panic attacks. It can do, but that's like in dire situations. But my anxiety comes out in a way where I just don't want to do things. Like, if someone invites me right now, do you want to go for a walk? I don't have time to catch up, you know, with my anxiety. I don't have time to think. I just say no straight away because of my anxiety, and I haven't had time to think about it. And I think a lot of people with anxiety feel like that, of course. But then it makes me feel lazy, wanting to just to be either doing videos or playing Sims. It makes me feel lazy, not wanting to do anything fun like going out unless it's something really fun and it has a purpose. Like, it has to be something very purposeful, like going to an aquarium or something, rather than just a walk. Yeah, I just got issues with that, if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel a bit in a weird state. The other thing is I don't drink often now, but I'm trying to navigate this life soberly. And you know, I'm in a place right now where I don't much enjoy living this life in sobriety, but I also just think that's because I've not done it in a long time. And part of that problem is being on pain medication. And the thing is, with my pain medication, it has euphoric side effects. And also getting high, smoking or whatever. I've kind of started that up a bit recently. I don't mind doing that, that's cool, but it gives me munchies and then I won't lose weight, so I'm trying not to do that. Because I won't lose weight. And also I just find when I'm sober I get more irritable or I get more stressed, and then I'm more lazy because I've done something like got high the night before, or if I'm not feeling that great without that euphoria of the pain medication or whatever, I'm less likely to do stuff as well because I feel more miserable. And it doesn't help that I have hormone disorders where 2 weeks of every month I am basically just a hormonal mess. Like two different people. 1 minute I'm like on cloud 9 and happy and manic even. It's like having bipolar but monthly. So like 2 weeks is like mania, happiness, high sex drive, high energy, high kindness, very open-minded, almost so kind and soft that I could be walked over. And then the next 2 weeks I'm like, don't talk to me, I want to isolate, I'm angry, I'm bloated, I feel horrible, I feel deadly, I feel more anxious than ever. I just got a lot going on, and it's really, sometimes it'll just get a day like this where it all just topples over because I had this really annoying thing. I was meant to go to the gym tonight, but the other day when they took the money for my membership out my bank, I didn't have any money in my bank, so the money bounced back. And then I get an email from their like money sorters saying like, oh, we'll try and charge you again on the 21st, but also a £15 administration fee on top of it, so that would be 40 quid. So that just made me feel really horrible, and I thought, how ironic, I didn't even have money to pay it and now you're charging me more, when it's not even a contract. Like, it's literally not even a contract. I've cancelled it now. I've cancelled the whole gym membership because all you do is cancel the direct debit. But it's a bit sad. But I really like swimming. That's my thing. But the pool I go to has been broken for ages. You know how I'm always really quite positive, and I always try to be and send a good message. I guess this isn't that kind of video, and it doesn't have to be. It's okay to feel sad sometimes and emotional, because I will bounce back and feel alright. And you know what? I think doing this video will help that, because I'm expressing myself. It's like writing a diary, isn't it? But instead, there's people listening. And I often think of everything that I've gone through in life up to the age of like 23 and more, all the things I've suffered. And yeah, I do look at myself and go, you know what? It's a miracle you're here, considering. So I try not to be so hard on myself. That's why, as well, I try and do things that I like doing and want to do rather than things that I have to do. Like, would you like to, play Sims all day? Or would you like to ring up the doctors and talk about this certain thing? What would you want to do more? You'd want to play Sims. Well, this is me personally. I'd want to play Sims. So I choose what I want rather than what I probably need to do, because my whole life I haven't really gotten what I wanted. And that wasn't my choice. So now that I have choices, I always try and pick the thing that I like. And like I said with food, like, food is a comfort to me, and I'm trying to go on a diet right now. And any little failure, and I suppose this is an ADHD thing as well, but like, when you fail, you just be really hard on yourself. But you know, I grew up being really slim, like, and athletic, and just through trauma, bad relationships, and comfort, I've put on weight, and I don't care about anyone else's weight or what size they are. And as long as you're happy and healthy, I don't care. You're beautiful to me. But when it comes to me, I know that this isn't happy at all. This is really sad, and it's trauma weight. A lot of the time, my weight is also a protection, because most bad things happened to me from people when I was skinny. And even though that's just something I've told myself, because actually it's not true, it almost feels like protection anyway. But yeah, this is an incredibly vulnerable video. I'm almost not here. Maybe a bit dissociative in the trigger, maybe. I still don't think it's bad to be emotional. This trigger. Does anyone else get like this kind of trigger? My triggers are usually freeze responses. So there's also like fight, flight, and so on. But mine's usually a freeze. And that's why I'm talking a bit slow. And monotone. That's okay. I'm okay with that. It's understandable. I wish I didn't feel like this right now. Because it makes me detach and want to be normal all of a sudden and get out of my emotions, and therefore I don't go deep enough to work on it because I become numb. Yeah. Let's try and get back on track though. Basically, yeah, main thing is about the ADHD, being sober, weight, you know, and not being so hard on myself. I know it sounds silly, and I could just tell you, but I just don't think it'd be productive to do so. But if you'd known every detail of the things I've gone through, and I'm not saying that no one else has this experience, but I'm just talking about me specifically. And I know a lot of people would feel like this too in their lives. But if you'd known every detail, you'd also be wondering how I still put a smile on my face and can live a life with a boyfriend and a daughter and family and be able to do things like go to Bristol and see artists that I've wanted to see and live life. And yeah, maybe things that I'm not so good at are okay, like, because, you know, considering, like I've said, considering what I have gone through, I'm doing a pretty good job. I just wish I could recognise that more often instead of being so hard on myself. I feel like I'll be missing out a lot of things that I did want to say, but it's okay. I've said what I've needed to, I think. Like, you got the main gist of it, and I don't want the video to go on forever. But yeah, I guess let me know if you relate or what you know about ADHD, or just give me some love. Whatever you want to do, I don't mind. I just think one of my favourite things to do when it comes to mental health is connect to people and know that we're not alone, and someone like that, because you're not. Look at me, I'm an absolute mess. I have so many bloody issues, guys, and I do really good to navigate them. I do really well to survive, but not just that, to live. And I'm really proud of myself for many of things, but you know, I wish I could say that all the time to myself. It is the ultimate feeling at the end of the day, is that I'm proud of myself. Like, that is the ultimate feeling, but I have to get through a load of talking to get to that part. You know what I mean? That's why it's good to express what you feel. But yeah, I'm gonna try and do things sober a lot more. And actually I have been, but I need to keep doing it, basically, and not avoid the stress, not avoid the pain, not avoid the emotion, and stop beating myself up. I can't be someone that does something amazing every day. No one can, and some people do, but that's not me. And yeah, I don't need to keep thinking that's what I should be doing, because if anything, I should just be happy that I'm alive, and have a wonderful daughter and family, considering the darkness I've actually had to endure. And it feels like two different lives sometimes. I'm like, did all those things really happen to me? And the last 4 years has been my only escape from all that. And I find that really crazy, that like from the age of 5 to 23, I just had so many horrible things happen to me. And then the trauma to go with it, which I'm still going through, but these last 4 years have been the only time that I've truly been free of horrible events. And that's where agoraphobia comes in too. I'm like, don't like going out and doing things too much on my own, because I'm so terrified of it happening again. And where would that put me if anything like that ever happened again? What would that do? Like, I can't even imagine going for anything like that ever again. I really can't, and I don't know what I'd do, guys. That's not like a threat on my life or anything. Don't worry, please don't take anything, too seriously. But well, I'm saying that because I don't want to scare you. But and at the end of the day, nothing like that is going to happen again, because I'm not going to let it. But I am the sort of person that could be in that situation again, and I know that about myself too. No, I'm not someone that can be like strong and be like, I know exactly when someone's manipulating me. No, I don't. I've had a life of being manipulated, and you'd think I'd know every little detail of what manipulation looks like, but it comes in so many forms that actually I think I'm just more accustomed to being manipulated. So actually I find myself to be more vulnerable than strong. People think, oh, at least now you'll know not to go back to that person's house, or which I wouldn't be doing now anyway, but like, people go, you're so strong, you probably know manipulators like the back of your hand. I'm like, no, I do not. I don't at all. All it's done is fuck with my trust. I can spot manipulation, yes, but I'm still drawn to narcissists. And I don't just mean that, like, obviously my boyfriend is not a narcissist at all. I'm fucking lucky about that. But I'm still drawn to saving people, helping people, adapting, people pleasing. There's so much I have to work on still. And that's okay. I'm only 27. And I've done pretty well. I just hope to think that, like, maybe I could be a messenger or some sort of, maybe I had to go through all these things to be a role model, or to be someone you can relate to, and that can relate to, the masses, and help people feel less alone. I mean, that's a nice thing to think about, isn't it? To think that could be my role. Because it's so dark when you think that things happen for nothing. It's much better to believe there was reason for it all. And that's where faith comes in. I'm not a religious person, but I have faith in something. I have to. I don't know what to do without it. Anyway, before it gets too emotional, I do think I should wrap this up. I have no idea what this video is going to be like. It might not even go out on YouTube. We'll see. Anyway, love you. Thank you for listening. And please do help me out when it comes to ADHD and stuff. Am I allowed to say I have it if I feel completely certain I do, or not? I don't know. I feel very lost right now. And it's just a moment. I don't feel like this every day. I really don't. If anything, I'm grateful I feel like this because it's real. Anyway, love you.